This message is not for everyone. In fact, most people will scroll past it. But you, yes, you, something told you to stop, to listen, to feel. And that wasn't random. That was a divine signal, because Archangel Michael has a message for you, a warning, a revelation, and a command. Someone in your life is not who they pretend to be, and the truth is about to hit harder than you ever imagined. But you're not alone. You were chosen for this moment. So whatever you do, don't click away. You're about to hear something that will change everything. Chosen one. There's a quiet breath behind your shoulder. You felt it. You didn't turn because something told you not to. Something ancient. Something divine. That wasn't paranoia. That wasn't anxiety. That was Archangel Michael whispering warning, screaming into your soul. But your world has been so noisy, you almost missed it. Someone in your life is not who they say they are. And the reason you've been so tired lately, the reason your sleep has felt like war, the reason your peace never lasts more than a minute, is because this person is silently siphoning your light. They don't want to see you rise. They smile when you speak of your visions, but their soul grinds in secret when you talk about your destiny. They're not clapping for you. They're clocking you, watching your steps, monitoring your hope, taking notes on your confidence just so they can strike at your most vulnerable hour. Michael has been trying to get your attention. The repeated numbers, the flickering lights, the calls that drop for no reason, that sudden gut feeling when someone enters the room. These are not accidents. These are not coincidences. They are interventions. They are red sirens in spiritual form, and you've been programmed, yes, programmed, to sense when something is off. You feel crazy because they want you to feel crazy. But you're not. You're chosen. Let me tell you the truth. No one else is willing to say. The enemy doesn't always come with horns and fire. Sometimes the enemy prays with you, eats with you, calls you bro or sis. Sometimes the enemy pretends to be your biggest supporter while secretly sending daggers through your spirit when your back is turned. That's the level of deception you're dealing with right now. And Archangel Michael didn't bring you here by chance. He brought you here on divine command. This is your wake-up call. You were chosen before birth. You were sent here with codes, with keys, with a light so powerful it disturbs every dark presence in the room. Even the ones hiding behind smiles. That's why they act different around you. That's why people you barely know try to compete with you. That's why they mimic your language, your posture, your essence, and still fail to dim what you naturally radiate. But this person in your life, they've mastered the art of blending in. That's what makes them so dangerous. They want access, not to love you, not to build with you, but to monitor and report, to slow you down, to interrupt what God is trying to accelerate. And the scariest part? They know exactly what they're doing. You've felt it, haven't you? The shift in energy when you share good news, the empty silence when you celebrate a win, that quick shade in their eyes when you say you're finally healing, finally seeing yourself clearly, finally about to do what you were born to do. Chosen one, that's not love. That's not support. That's spiritual surveillance. And Michael is ordering you, yes, ordering you to open your eyes now, because what you ignore will destroy you. Not all at once, no. That would be too obvious. But bit by bit, thought by thought, slowly, gently, until you start to doubt your own intuition, until you start asking them for permission to shine, until you start watering yourself down just to make them feel comfortable. But that's not your calling. You didn't come here to be polite to darkness. You came here to pierce it. You didn't come here to blend in. You came here to stand out and lead. And if you continue tolerating people who pretend to love you while they're spiritually draining you, your gifts will suffocate. That's why you're here. That's why this message feels like fire in your chest. Because your spirit already knew. Your heart already felt it. And now, heaven is confirming it. Don't ignore this. Archangel Michael has drawn his sword, and when he does that, It's never for theatrics. It's for battle. He's not telling you to run. He's telling you to rise. Because they didn't expect you to figure it out. They thought the spell would keep working. They thought the smiles would keep you blind. But not anymore. Not now. Now you've been warned. And I know it hurts. I know the betrayal feels heavier when it comes from someone close. But you must understand, this pain is sacred. This realization is holy. This moment right now is the beginning of your rescue. You're not crazy. You're not paranoid. You're spiritually awakened. And they fear that. So pay attention. Who makes you second-guess your joy? Who gets distant when you win? Who needs access to everything but gives you nothing in return? These are not questions for the mind. These are questions for the soul. And your soul knows. You just needed permission to trust it again. Archangel Michael just gave you that permission. There's a reason you feel more exhausted around certain people, even after just a short conversation. It's not in your head. It's not random. It's energy theft. It's the invisible warfare they don't talk about on the news. These people don't need weapons. They use words, glances, tones, and silence to drain you dry. You walk away confused, disoriented, doubting yourself. And that's exactly what they wanted. The enemy operates in confusion. And if someone is always leaving you mentally tangled, emotionally cold, spiritually dulled, that's not a coincidence. That's spiritual sabotage. Chosen one, Michael sees what you've been tolerating. He sees the masks they wear around you. He sees the forced laughter, the questions laced with judgment, the innocent comments that are really coded jabs. These are not small things. These are red flags. Blinking. Screaming. And you've been trying to rationalize them because the deceiver looks so familiar. Because the enemy doesn't show up in red horns anymore. They show up in shared bloodlines, in years-long friendships, in people you've cried with and prayed with. But Archangel Michael isn't here for your comfort. He's here for your clarity. He's slicing through the fog. He's separating the real from the fake, the wheat from the chaff. You're not just entering a new season. You're entering a divine war zone, and the first battle is for your awareness. Because if they can keep you asleep, they can keep feeding off your light. And make no mistake, your light is rare. That's why they're drawn to you like moths to a flame, not to admire it, to drain it, to control it, to dim it just enough that you never realize how powerful it is. But now you're waking up, and it's not going to be easy. Because when your light increases, the shadows panic. When you get closer to your breakthrough, the false connections start glitching. They'll accuse you of changing, of being cold, of thinking you're better. That's just their cover-up. That's their fear speaking, because they know once you see them clearly, their control ends, their access vanishes, and their disguise shatters. Let me tell you something deep, something you've suspected but never said aloud. They study you, not because they love you, but because they're trying to figure out how you keep surviving, how you keep rising, how you keep getting favor even when you're broken. They want the blueprint. They want the anointing, but they're not willing to pay the price. They didn't survive your childhood. They didn't cry your tears. They didn't bleed your battles, but they want the crown. And Michael says no. He's drawing the line. He's telling you, commanding you, to stop handing out divine access to counterfeit souls. You are not an open buffet for the spiritually bankrupt. You are not a charger for people who refuse to plug into their own healing. You are not here to carry leeches disguised as loved ones. That time is over. You see, the problem isn't that you trusted. The problem is that you were never taught how to discern. But now that's changing. Your discernment is sharpening. Your spirit is getting louder. And your boundaries are becoming weapons. That's what scares them. Not your words, not your success, your clarity. Because once you know who someone truly is, they can no longer manipulate your heart. Chosen one, hear me. You're not being mean for creating distance. You're being obedient. You're not cold for going silent. You're being strategic. You're not wrong for protecting your peace. You're being wise. Archangel Michael is guarding you as you shed the layers of illusion. You're not who you used to be, and they're still relating to the old you, the broken you, the dependent you, the you that needed validation. But that version died in the fire, and what walked out of that fire is a divine weapon in human skin. They don't know who they're dealing with now, but they're about to find out. You were sent here as a mirror. That's why people either love you deeply or resent you silently. You reflect what's real. You expose what's fake. You stir up what's dormant. And when you walk into a room, everything hidden starts to shake. That's not ego. That's power. That's the frequency of a chosen soul. And if someone in your life constantly responds to your power with silence, distance, gossip, or passive aggression, you already have your answer. Michael says, stop doubting what your spirit knows. Stop explaining your intuition away. Stop keeping people around just because they've always been there. Time served does not equal loyalty. Length of relationship does not equal alignment. And blood does not always equal bond. You are not being paranoid. You are being prepared. And if you ignore this preparation, you will suffer the consequences, not because God is punishing you, but because He already warned you. That's what this message is. A divine warning, a last alert, a soul rescue. Look at who's closest to you. Pay attention to who suddenly shifts when you talk about growth, healing, vision. Watch who goes quiet when you talk about leaving the job, launching the business, walking away from toxicity. They're revealing themselves. Believe them. No more benefit of the doubt. No more, maybe I'm overthinking. No more explaining spiritual feelings with logical excuses. You are a spiritual being. You were born to see what others ignore. This is your time. Your clarity is a gift. Use it. Archangel Michael is with you. There's a moment in every chosen one's journey when the veil drops, when the things you tried to ignore become unbearable, when the energy of a room shifts and you realize they never liked you, they liked your light. And now that your light is too bright to control, the truth surfaces. Not with screaming, not with conflict, but with a quiet, chilling distance. They pull back, and you finally see it. You were never one of them. You were placed among them, for a reason, for a season. And now, that season is closing. Archangel Michael is sending you this message because you've reached that moment. The illusions have expired. The contracts, those spiritual agreements you didn't even realize you made with certain people, are void. You were never meant to stay tied to energies that only knew how to take. You're stepping into divine independence, emotional sovereignty, spiritual maturity, and with it comes loss. Not because you're being punished, but because your wings are outgrowing their cages. Look closely at who goes silent during your breakthroughs, who only checks in when they need something, who subtly undermines your wins with a smirk or a sarcastic comment, who makes your healing about their discomfort. That's not love. That's spiritual jealousy. That's warfare cloaked in politeness. The enemy learned not to roar, but to whisper. And if you're still listening with your human ears, you'll miss the spiritual signals screaming through your intuition. Chosen one, you've been asking for clarity, for alignment, for elevation. But clarity often arrives in the form of betrayal. Alignment sometimes starts with separation, and elevation requires isolation. This isn't cruelty. This is purification. Archangel Michael is purging your path. You cannot take those spirits into your next dimension. They will corrupt it, poison it, drain it, delay it. And heaven is done watching you get spiritually mugged by people who smile in your face and plot in your shadow. You are waking up in layers now, realizing that the people you were once loyal to were only loyal to your silence. They loved the version of you that doubted your worth, that kept giving, that stayed small, that didn't question the imbalance. But now you're asking questions. You're holding up mirrors. You're demanding peace. And that is a threat to their comfort. They say you've changed, and they're right. You've stopped abandoning yourself to keep others happy. You've stopped ignoring your gut to protect their ego. You've stopped breaking your back to earn crumbs of validation. That's growth. That's God. That's you, becoming who you were always meant to be. But here's what you must understand. As you rise, you'll trigger demons you didn't know were watching you. Some of them live in people you love. That's the hard truth. Not everyone in your circle is in your corner. Some are there to study, not support. Some are there to copy, not connect. Some are there to delay, not develop. Archangel Michael says, do not fear them. Expose them, not with arguments, not with accusations, but with distance, with silence, with boundaries. Because demons don't scream when you confront them. They shrivel when you ignore them. Your detachment is your weapon. Your discernment is your shield. And your peace is your proof that the enemy has failed. You're not alone in this. Every chosen one walks this path. The shedding, the severing, the silence. It's brutal, but it's sacred, because what comes after it is power. Clear power. Power that no longer leaks through broken connections. Power that no longer apologizes for being different. Power that walks into rooms and shifts atmospheres without saying a word. That's you now. Not just chosen, but activated. You're stepping into divine awareness, and once you see the masks, you can never unsee them. That's what makes this journey so lonely, but so necessary. Because now you understand why they tried to distract you, to discredit you, to drain you. They saw what you didn't, your potential, your calling, your protection. Archangel Michael was guarding you the whole time. Even when you were surrounded by snakes, he kept you from the bite. Even when you were blind to the fakes, he whispered truth through your anxiety, your restlessness, your sudden withdrawals. That was not weakness. That was warfare. And you survived it. Now he's commanding you to step up, to stop playing naive, to stop pretending you don't know what you know. There's no more time to waste. The mission ahead is too big for dead weight. The blessings waiting for you are too sensitive for dirty hands. Your future is too bright for shadow dwellers. You are crossing over, from confusion to clarity, from pain to purpose, from being used to being crowned. And not everyone can come. Not because you're better, but because you're different. You chose healing. You chose obedience. You chose truth. And that truth has a cost, but it also has a reward. Your discernment is a gift. Use it like a sword. Cut through the lies. Slice away the attachments. Guard your soul like it carries the next wave of awakening. Because it does. You're not just chosen for you. You're chosen for what flows through you. And when you stay tied to the wrong spirits, the flow gets blocked. This is your spiritual audit. Archangel Michael is overseeing it. Your room is being swept. Your contacts are being filtered. Your circle is being cleansed, not to isolate you, but to insulate you. So when your next level arrives, you're not dragging the past into your promise. You've been warned, and warned again. But now, you've been activated. Chosen one, if you're still here, if you felt this message grip your soul and stir something ancient within your spirit, then you know this isn't just a message. This is a summoning, a divine pull, a celestial shake from the heavens themselves. Archangel Michael has been speaking, not just through signs, not just through dreams, but right here, right now, through these words meant only for ears tuned to truth. And now, here comes the final command. Stop ignoring the truth because it makes you uncomfortable. Stop delaying your purpose because it might hurt feelings. Stop compromising your destiny to keep the peace with people who were never sent to walk with you beyond this level. Peace is not the absence of conflict, it's the presence of clarity. And you, dear soul, are being handed a sword made of that clarity. This is your official release notice, from cycles, from attachments, from illusions. Archangel Michael is telling you that your next blessings are already written, but your alignment is the key that opens the door. And to align, you must remove what no longer reflects who you are. That means saying no more often. That means detaching from the people who speak to your wounds, but never to your worth. That means no longer playing small to be accepted in rooms that insult your spirit just to feel superior. You don't owe anyone an explanation for your awakening. You don't owe anyone access to your peace just because they were there when you were broken. Broken is not your brand. Healing is, wholeness is, anointing is, and it's time you walk like someone who understands the gravity of that truth. No more shrinking, no more second guessing, no more negotiating with spirits that already showed you who they are. Archangel Michael is not a passive guardian. He is a warrior, and his presence in your life right now is not soft. It's fierce. You've been protected from things that should have destroyed you. That relationship, that betrayal, that near-death moment, you made it through not because you were lucky, but because you were marked. When you were crying in secret, angels were fighting in silence. And now that you've survived it, heaven expects you to act like someone who's been chosen for something greater. You may feel alone, but understand this. Chosen ones are always few, never many. That's the point. If everyone could carry this mantle, it wouldn't be special. But you were built for it. That pain you endured, that rejection you carried, that voice you almost lost, it was all part of the molding. You weren't being punished. You were being prepared for this moment, for this elevation, for this exposure. And with that elevation comes responsibility. You can't carry both your calling and your comfort. One will always make room for the other. You can't feed your soul and your flesh at the same time. You have to choose. And the time for that choice is now. Archangel Michael says, open your eyes. The enemy didn't just want to stop you. They wanted to confuse you, to get you so entangled with false love, fake friends, and draining environments that you would start to doubt your own light. But you're not confused anymore. You see it now, don't you? The patterns, the manipulation, the way certain people only loved the broken version of you. That was never love. That was spiritual control. But this is your breakthrough. Not the kind that shouts, but the kind that shakes. It's quiet. It's internal. But it's permanent. You're walking away from everything you once thought you needed because you finally understand nothing is worth your peace, nothing is worth your purpose, and nothing is worth blocking what heaven is trying to release into your life. Chosen one, you are not who you were even 30 days ago. You've been shifting in silence, healing in secret, gaining strength in places no one could see. And now, it's time. No more hiding, no more explaining, no more waiting. You're not behind. You're right on time. The delay was protection, the loneliness was training, and the silence was preparation. Archangel Michael didn't come to make you feel good. He came to remind you of who you are, what you carry, what you're called to do, and most importantly, who you're not. You're not here to fit in. You're not here to play safe. You're not here to beg for crumbs of connection. You are here to awaken the world by walking in truth so boldly, it makes the darkness uncomfortable. That's why they turned on you. That's why they lied. That's why they tried to discredit you, distract you, destroy you. But you were never alone. You were covered. You were being sharpened. And now, you're ready. So take this command seriously. Clean house, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. Make space for what is holy. Make room for the miracles. Because the ones coming next will not be for sharing with everyone. They are for the ones who endured, who obeyed, who trusted. That's you. You've been warned. You've been chosen. And now, you've been commanded. And watch what happens next.